Also ahead, an incredible story of redemption. An ex-con turning honorary police officer. One man's amazing life transformation. We talked to him coming up. All right, so when you hear the words jewel heist, a lot of us picture Cary Grant and Grace Kelly, the glamour of the south of France. But in real life, major crime is a serious business and can be carried out by dangerous career criminals. Today, Lloyd's of London announced a $1.3 million reward for information leading to the arrest of a brazen armed gunman who held up 3 security guards, a manager, and 2 jewelers to walk off with $136 million worth of jewels from the Carlton Hotel in Cannes, July 28th. And as authorities work to crack the case, the man who served more than a decade behind bars for a $15 million robbery is about to become this nation's first ex-con to be sworn in as an honorary police officer. Joining me now to talk more about his transformation is Larry Lawton, creator of the Reality Check program, along with Lake St. Louis Police Chief Mike Force. It's great to have you both here, gentlemen. And Larry, I want to start with you on this because when you hear about that jewel heist, is there a little tinge in you that gets excited to hear that someone was able to achieve that big of a get, $136 million? I mean, is there a small part in you that responds to that?
Well, I think that I could have prevented it, Thomas. I think that maybe they read the book, and I hope they didn't, but there's more to that whole story, and as I said on other networks, that was more than just one guy doing that robbery, but I don't get excited. I really get excited by helping the police departments like I do now. And
how were you able to make that switch? Because you have quite a success story going from jewel thief to a teen life coach. Where was the pivot point for you?
Well, I think everybody has to hit a bottom. I hit my bottom in prison, of course. Everybody has a different bottom. And then when you find people who work with you, like Police Chief Mike Force and the Lake St. Louis Police Department, that's where the turnaround really comes.
When we talk about this turnaround, obviously it's gotten the attention of Lake St. Louis and the police force there, as you point out, and we have the Chief Mike Force with us. Sir, you're going to be doing the honors next week, swearing in Larry as this honorary police officer. What redeeming qualities did you find in a former crafty jewel thief that would lead you to give him this position?
Well, that's a great question, Thomas. You know, we hooked up with Larry when we became aware of his program. I went down to Florida and vetted that program. You know, we see far too many youth, young people who enter the system and just get caught in a revolving wheel and never get out of the system. Larry's program offers an alternative to that and maybe a way for us to keep some young people out of jail.
And also, is it because, and as a career police officer, so, you know, people would say you're conditioned to think like a cop. Larry had the ability in a former life and kind of thinks like a criminal. Is that an asset to you?
Well, I think so. Larry has an amount of credibility that he brings to his program and that he brings to young people that we as police officers just don't have. I mean, when he says this is the way it is, people kind of have to listen to that.
They do. They got to take it as the word of gospel. So, Larry, what kind of feedback do you get from these kids? Because I know your DVDs, they're in police cruisers. Do any of them question the kids? You know, because kids can be brutally honest. Do they question whether you should be even hanging out with them?
You know, I've had that question, and as I say to young people, I said, if you have a problem, do you call 911 or 411? And they all say 911. With that said, they need the police. But what we're doing here with Lake St. Louis is breaking down that us against them mentality the society has with law enforcement. And when you have a person like Chief Force in a department that's really all for helping people, I'm really hoping more law enforcement agencies jump on board that to use something that I'm trying to give to these agencies, and it's experience, and nothing beats experience, Thomas.
One thing I really want to point out is the Reality Check program. It's used by the federal government in its Weed and Seed program. Next month, both of you gentlemen are going to be recognized for your collaboration on the floor of Congress in Washington. Chief Force, let me start with you. Could you have imagined that the program will be this successful?
Well, you know, as you say, Thomas, I've been in law enforcement a long time, and I'm frustrated, as many law enforcement officials are, with our lack of ability to respond to young people who start to get into trouble. They come into the system, they kind of get in that revolving wheel, as I said, and they really learn to be better criminals. We have no way of, no alternatives right now for getting them into that system. If we can intervene in that early on, I think we can make a real difference in their life. When I see a program that has a success rate of 90% of young people do not go to jail as a result of going through the program, I count that a very good success, and a very good success for our community and hopefully many communities.
And Larry, for you, again, being recognized for this collaboration on the floor of Congress, as well as getting the honorary officer title, that's got to be tremendous, mean a lot to you.
You know, it's very humbling and very, I'm so honored to be working with these guys. And it took a lot. You know, like you said beforehand, people come up to me and say, do you really want to work with the police when they hear the negative? I'm trying to bring out the positive, because there's a lot of positive in law enforcement. And I think if the community sees that an ex-con and the police can work together, I think this can really grow, and let's show Congress that we can work together. I mean, that's how big it can get, and I really believe that.
Larry Lawton and Chief Mike Force. Gentlemen, thanks so much, and congratulations for all your success. And Larry, the next time we see you, we're going to have to call you Officer Lawton, right?
Thanks for having us on, Thomas. I appreciate it. I really do.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Take care,
Thomas.
gentlemen.